Hello, hello, Rhoda here. Welcome to my craft room. Today we're working on day 25 of Craftly Haul. And before we get started with that, we have the sneaky peek. And I know you've seen this before. I probably have it in several of my different books, but it's my corset pocket. And I have a template of this on my Rhoda's Junk page. That's the connections down in the description box in case you want to go over. It's in the freebies album. And I made a really skinny tag because I've only got this little skinny waistline here. Don't I wish I had that. I have no waistline. But it fits right in between. You have to watch that glue. And you might even want to not glue it right there, just like here and then here. But it has like little pantaloon lace here. I have a couple little bows. I sewed it shut with eyelets. And I also have a pocket over here with an old index card that I tea-dyed. And that could be written on. And I placed it on this cardstock here and sewed around it so I could glue it down to where you had that tuck area, because that reasonably is not where you could actually write. Now, in my other version, I had a whale tail punch. Where is one? Let me pull one out. And the thing is, with a whale tail punch on here, it actually simulates a neckline. Can you see it? So that is the better choice to have if you're doing this on that tag at the top, because it that really doesn't look like anything. So anyhow, that's what we're seeing today. That's all I was going to show you. That's a real good one though. All right, here is day 24 on the left, and I realized I had this coat and haul tree, or coat tree, I think is what you call these things. And that will go well right here, because when he gets to his room, he's probably going to want to put up his jacket and everything, get comfortable, and get down to taking notes and stuff like that. So that's why I kind of have on this side, I have a pen and I think it's a stack of papers. I'm not really sure what this is, but it looks like a stack of papers and things he may be going through. I see a ring-bound journal notepad kind of thing back there. This one was also on the page with a little string around it. And I kind of wondered if that could be my notebook, or his notebook that went slinging across the room in the previous story. Page, day, whatever. So I kind of wondered about maybe laying it right up here where it looks like it got slung over there next to the door, which this could be the door area because it kind of looks like the shape of a door. Yeah. And so this is actually the tag, the double tag that came with this day, day 25. This is the little tag that come with it, which has the bathroom sink and toilet in it, and the mirror with the word. And then in the ephemeras, you had this word on this sink, and there was another sink like this. So I also turned this around backward. Usually I have it this way where you can see the pattern on the outside, and I'll glue it shut or something like that. This time I'm going to fold it this way, and we're just going to ink around the outside edge, because this is going to go on top of, no, that goes inside of it. These will go on top of it. And then the idea of this getting slung over next to the door kind of works. So let me read the word chip that goes with the day. I also have a little clock here, like his pocket watch. I think that's what you call them, a pocket watch. It's going to be laying around here as well. It says, Ernest noticed the word you written into the condensation on the larger of the two mirrors by the sink. Similar things continue to occur. Well, I guess that's a prelude to what else happens on this same day. So, okay. And I decided to put that down here to kind of give it a different area than it is up there. So, let's us pull this kind of to the side. And we're going to ink around the outside edge of this real quick. And I'm just going to use this piece of paper and some vintage photo oxide. And that's all we're going to use. But I thought that would be a different use of this tag, this double tag. Because I've been finding other ways to use it. In like one of the previous days, I glued the top and the bottom together and made it a tuck. And that's a good usage for it as well. And then this is also another one where it already has the pretty design on the inside. So that's going to frame our... And I also wondered about making it a tuck underneath, like a pocket, but I decided against that because of the way the story goes. Well, let me get this down, and then we're going to go over the story. Yeah, you usually get that at the beginning, don't you? Surprise! And also, I was going through all my stuff the other day, especially the ephemera and stuff that I have left. I don't have much. And I was making sure I had everything I needed on each day. And then I was, clipping it to the days ahead that I still have to do. And, organizing what all I wanted to have where. And I noticed, because I kept putting it, I'm a procrastinator. I kept putting it aside and aside and aside. Oh, that's right. I got to do it in between here as well. But I also had some people and such that were part of, I don't know, what I'm going to assume is his studies on the area. And I kept wondering where to place them. I almost thought I had to put them in here after the equipment page, that was previous. But I got to thinking, well, maybe I'll just do it to where it's a part of his suitcase or his briefcase. I'm looking for this. Okay. And then that means I can probably put it at the back, where it's a piece you can pull out. It's not inserted. It's not attached. So it's a piece that's going to be where you can pull it out and look at it as you're going through the story, that kind of thing. That's kind of where I wanted to go with it. I'm just using a little bit of this scorched timber on the edge of this dauber and going around the outside just to give it a little bit of another color here. I probably need to use some of my ground espresso, but because I want a little warmer color, sometimes you want a warmer shade. Let's see if that'll add to it. Especially when you got wood grain or something like that. Now that was another thing I could have done, is kind of did a stamping on the background here. That may have been like, wallpaper, plaster. I've got some papers that's over there I've still got saved from previous days where I didn't use it. You have a lot of different things like that you can use. Now, see, I'm getting a little bit more color in there, which is good. It was just too one note. You never want to be one note. It's too boring. You want to add colors. So this gets out of the way. And then we're going to pull this over. And I think we're going to put our hall tree down before we do anything else. I'll put the hall tree down. Coat tree, whatever. Mom and Dad still has a coat tree. As you come in the door, it's usually packed full. We don't have a closet in the living room when you come in the side door down there. So you have to have a coat tree, hall tree, whatever you call these things. So we're just going to stick that here and get it over here, mostly on the whitish side, because you can't really see it too well there. All right, I think that's good. All right, and then I'm going to put the chip down because that has the story, and then I only have a few other little pieces to put down after I read this. This is probably going to be a short day, a short story. Yeah, it's a short story. I want to thank everybody for coming and joining me today. I really appreciate you for being here. Probably have a busy day ahead of for yourself, and I just I really like that you We're able to take a little time and come and visit, maybe to get some ideas for your own Craftly Hall days or however you need to go about that. Okay, so let me hold this to the side. With their agreement obtained, and while Alice, who had slept through the night apparently not hearing or seeing anything, prepared breakfast, Ernest made use of the bathroom, noticing only after he was almost finished bathing, written into the condensation on the larger of the two mirrors by the sink was the word you. And that's right here. It came as something of a surprise when he then found, sometime later, the word go, similarly written on a mirror above the lavatory. Is that above the lavatory? I thought the stool was the lavatory, right? Okay. On both occasions, when he had availed Geoffrey of the news, the words had disappeared before Mr. Binder was able to see them. So he was trying to get Geoffrey in there to witness this phenomena at the same time, to have a witness. Okay. For the rest of the day, Ernest equipped the dining room in readiness for the seance, having Oh, that's where all the chairs are for. Oh my gosh. Okay. You remember me talk? Okay, let me get them. Okay, remember I kept saying, I even asked Jody about this, where the stacked chairs came in the story. I mean, it doesn't come out right out and tell you, but this has to be for in readiness of the seance. Because in the dining room, they had that big old table with about 8 to 10 chairs on it. And this must have been it. Okay, so now I know where to use it. I'm not sure where to slide it in now. Because I guess I could put the stacked chair one over there. Or I could make it to where it slides. Yeah, that's maybe what I'll do. I'll make this right at the edge. I'll put a whale tail punch. And I've got like a brownish kind of a look to it. Is that the right color? Or I have this one, or this greeny one will be good. Okay, whatever that color is. So, okay. So I'll make that a tag that can be pulled out. All right, we got that settled. Hot dog. Okay. Yeah, that one's sideways. But I like this one better. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Hot dog. I'm so happy I figured that out because that had been worrying me. Okay. So, where did I end up? Okay, for the rest of the day, Ernest equipped the dining room in readiness for the seance, having explained to Rose and Geoffrey exactly what such a thing would entail and what it was they might expect from such an assembly. He told them that and his colleagues would attempt to contact any souls who may still be attached to the house, that they would try to find out what was keeping them there, and then search for, if possible, a solution to the matter. Ernest had also spoken with a young reverend in the village when he had been to the post office, and it was he who arrived at the house first. Walking around with Ernest, Reverend Dixon explained that he would attempt to perform a cleansing of the building as soon as the seance was completed. He had been asked to perform such a service once before at a small terraced house in the next village and had, so far as he was aware, been successful in bringing calm to what had otherwise been an apparently greatly disturbed household. All right, so Reverend Dixon is going to be on the scene as well. So I'm wondering where I need to add chairs then. Because it could be that they go in the next day. Because that's where they're preparing for the seance and all that kind of stuff. So let me put that on the next day. Yes, because when they're setting up for the seance, they only have a small round table there. So that's all they're going to need. Now I'm going to go ahead and glue these pieces down up here because I think this is going to hit one of the edges here, and I need to get that down first because I need that to fold out freely. Oh, I'm so happy. I bet you're happy for me as well that I found out where the chairs go. You know, the twin situation was another one that was never resolved for me. I never really knew why or how they came into being in the storyline. It just, I didn't know. I didn't have any idea. Now, I think I'm going to lay that there like that, right? I think that's going to go almost right up to the edge. Now that, yeah, see how I'm laying over top of that? I didn't think that would fit. Yeah, so I think I saved all of my candles for the seance time period because everything else had a lamp in it. So I didn't see where else that those could have come in at. So this is going to lie here like that. I'm going to put his pocket watch kind of like that, I guess. Or should I put it on the other side? I was never really sure where to put it. It could go there, kind of like that. Maybe I'll do that. Okay. It kind of looks like I got it too stacky over there. Oh, and you'll be so happy to know I got a little sleep last night. My feet were killing me the night before, and so they'll worry at me. It's just that it's almost like your foot is falling asleep, but it doesn't. And it's almost like little pins and needles. I gotta put this exactly where it's not going to, yeah, about right there, where it's not going to bother my tuck in here and be in the way of anything else. I think that'll work just right. It's kind of showing that maybe that's about when he got to bed. That was about 10 o'clock. Although I think it was much later. I think probably 10 a.m. is what it probably should have been. Because I think he walked around all night. And then it wasn't until about 4 or something, I think he got back to the room. I'll have to look at that. You know, it's trying to keep your storyline in gear, you know, with what's actually happening in the picture you're creating. That you have to always try to keep that in mind when you're building something like this. I mean, this is right up my alley. I used to love miniatures. I loved anything to do with, I liked paper dolls, I think more, and Barbies more in line because of the fashion. I always, like I was telling you before, love Project Runway things, where they're creating from something that you would not otherwise be able to create out of or from. I love any challenge like that. And I'm going to go ahead and rub this down to see if I can get that to secure down good. This is kind of nice to have this off-white edge because it reminds me and ties in with lighter elements like over here. See how well that pulls your eye back and forth? That's wonderful. I love that. I love that. Okay, so we have a few of these wax seals from from when they were writing letters. I had a crow, and then I had these. Oh, I have a crow there. I don't know if that would be too matchy-matchy, or we shouldn't put something like that skeleton. The red one's too red. So let's do that, because I haven't used these on anything else. I could probably use them like in his file, not file, but his, well, in his files, but that would be in his suitcase or briefcase. That's what I'm trying to think of. But I still have those too. And I can always print off more. But I thought this might add a little bit of spooky booky to, you know, the story. Or at least right here. Because I don't have much going on except some ghost writing in the, into the mirror. You know, and that makes you wonder, like, what ghost was this writing in this mirror? Who was that? Now, it's obviously somebody that can write, because, you know, back then, especially back even in the plague days, there wasn't that many people that were literate. I mean, when I'm looking through things with my genealogy, What about, oh, look, I'm going to do it. I put this here because that was before and that was after. But I really like the idea of that, especially with the crow. We're doing it. We are doing it. Yeah, you'll see quite a few times because like 1870, 1880, somewhere in there, they were taking that. Each year of the census, they're recording something different. They're learning something different. Um, so there was this one year that they were particularly trying to find out, or 2 or 3 years, or it's every 10 years that you'll have a census, that they were trying to find out who could write and all that kind of good stuff. Now, the 1930 census, I remember particularly well because that was the first one they asked about a radio. What household had a radio? And you remember back then, there was all these people. I'm going to use a little bit of this vintage photo to color this because I'm going to put this on this file folder here. I'm going to cut it down a little bit more, and then we're going to ink it, and then I'm going to put it on that file folder because this is kind of like the introduction of him starting to take notes for Craftley Hall. But yeah, back then, you didn't have very many TVs. You were rich only a TV if you were rich, or well-to-do and that kind of thing. So a radio was what they mostly had. Now, they were always listening to the Grand Ole Opry or something at that point, or listening to fights, or anything along those lines, or listening to war information, like especially in World War II. You had information coming over the lines to tell you about any kind of conflicts, or if the war was over, people that might have been wounded, that kind of stuff. So that was a very interesting thing for them to have. All right. Well, I think we're done. I think we're done. It was a very quick one, about 22 minutes this time. I got about 10 more minutes in. All right. Well, I really appreciate you coming to visit. I thank all my subscribers and viewers. And all my subscribers, be sure to watch. I'm going to have a video here in the next few days on the 2000 subscriber journal. And like I was saying before, I'll explain everything in that video. But I want it to be for my tried and true people that stand behind me and help me and support me and all that kind of stuff. So it needs to be at least 15, probably, comments from each person that puts in to try to win the journal. All right, well, I thank you. I will talk to you again soon, and everybody take care. All right, bye-bye.